Assalamualaikum, angels. I have something that I was discussing with someone lately that is really a reality for those people who do get divorced. And I'm talking about brown, maybe Asian, maybe African, Muslim women who get divorced, have been divorced. How have people treated you right after divorce? If you're thinking about getting divorced, brace yourself, sisters. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Fasten your seatbelts. It's not going to be easy. If you have come out of divorce and you've survived it, please share your stories in the comment section below and give us strength and share your strength with the world, because Allah knows we need it. As sisters in our cultural societies, we need this kind of support. We need to feel heard. We need to feel supported. We need to feel like we're not retarded, like we're not rejects, like we're not baggage, and like we're not useless and completely, absolutely useless and rubbish after divorce. Because honestly, the reality is that is how we're made to feel when we do get divorced. Now, it doesn't really even matter to people who gave the divorce, whether it was a khula or a fasakh or an annulment, or whether the woman applied for the divorce and it was her decision to leave the man, or whether the man decided that you were all of a sudden not good enough for him, or he didn't have any place for you in his life, or he met Jane from his secretary and ran off with her, and you know she was better than you for some reason. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who left who, why who left who. It doesn't matter. The fact is, even if you did the leaving and you had better standards, you had standards to start with. Let's not even get into better standards. You just merely had freaking standards, and you decided that you deserved better than to be hit, abused, beaten, sworn at, gaslighted, treated psychotically by a narcissist, abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, financial abuse. It does not matter that you decided that you were not worthy of all of that abuse and that you deserved better. It does not matter, because unfortunately we live in a world in a society where, so long as you have the stigma and the title divorcee, and you are divorced and you are no longer with your husband, and you no longer have this male Gucci bag hanging off your arm, it doesn't matter who did the leaving, sweetheart. All that matters is that you no longer have a Gucci man hanging off your arm. Because unfortunately, in the superficial, fake world we live in, that is all women and men, but mostly women, care about. Especially, unfortunately, the more traditional women. This is where culture and tradition gets really backward. And I mean like backward. If you are planning getting divorced or just been divorced, you will be able to relate to these things. Firstly, you will be treated like used goods and baggage and looked down upon. Also, people will, even your closest of relatives, will think that you are just now a piece of trash that ought to be discarded onto the trash heap. They will think of you as used goods, because now you've been pumped and dumped, even though you did it in the halal way. But you have been used, the seal has been broken, the can has been cracked open, you're used goods. No one likes used goods, no one likes secondhand, everyone wants brand new. You are no longer a virgin if you have been divorced, therefore you are used baggage. And the shocking thing is that you will expect to get the best support from your closest of kith and kin, family, moms and dads and sisters and brothers and aunties and uncles. Let me just warn you, if it hasn't hit your life yet, some of the closest people who were your best supporters will desert you when you get divorced. I know it's going to be a very hard, bitter, red pill to swallow, jagged little red pill. But it's the truth. They will desert you. They will all of a sudden lose all their respect for you. You will become a useless piece of garbage woman, and they will all desert you and run from you, especially the women folk. Why? because you now have a new disease society has diagnosed you with called divorceitis. Divorceitis is highly contagious and highly spreadable to all married women who come into your reach. Every single married woman will want to protect her husband from you because they will now believe that you are going to steal their man. More than that, they're going to believe that you will spread your magic wand of skunky shit dust on them, and that they will now get afflicted and catch whatever you've caught, and therefore end up having their husbands divorce them. So even if their husbands don't run off with you, which is the fear and the threat that you pose on every living two-legged Homo sapien man, even if you don't have this fear, they will be afraid of you running off with their husband, or they will be afraid of catching the divorce bug. Because once they catch the divorce bug, their marriage is going to hit the rocks. And why? Because of you. You're all of a sudden this person that they need to quarantine in some divorce island where all the other divorcees should go and sink in that boat. Anyway, so they will stay away from you. You will no longer be invited to weddings, maybe even funerals. God, they don't even care that you're there or not. You ought to be dead because you're divorced. I mean, you might as well be sometimes, right? I mean, if you're divorced, you know what I'm talking about. If you're divorced and brown and Muslim, hell, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Then they do not invite you. You're no longer the title of Mrs. whatever your name was, even though it's against Islam to change your surname, and you should keep your father's surname because that is the lineage that you possess, and you are not a possession of your husband. But you will no longer be Mrs. if you had changed your surname, whatever it was. Mrs. Parak, Mrs. Desai, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Offenheimer, Mrs. Bergstein, Mrs. Edwards, whatever your surname was. Okay, you're no longer that woman. You are now a shell of a human being that has been used and no longer needed and discarded into the unwanted heap, the bargain basket. And the only people that are going to want you after this are desperados, people who want discounts on the pussy section and the pussy bargain basket of disposable and disposed and discarded pussies. So, that being said, I know it sounds like such a trip. Well, it is. And honestly, if you can get through this social stigma of being called a divorcee, somebody who's no longer wanted, somebody who has a defect in them, someone who's no good, somebody who wasn't worth a man, somebody who a man discovered was absolutely crap and rubbish and not worth being married to, then you're going to have to face all of this. You're going to have to build this inner strength that often single women and married women have never built before. This inner strength to go on, to carry on, to give life all that you have. And that is where I urge you not to be in that bargain basket, not to accept less than you deserve, not to tolerate anything less than what you are, and to in fact use the divorce rock bottom as the foundation on which to grow yourself, become a new you, become the best version of you, become the ultimate you that you can fall in love with before anyone else could ever have the chance, and to show the world that leaving him was the best decision in your life, even if he left you. You are super 10,000 times better than the woman that you were when you were with him, because now you no longer have to put up with all of his crap and live under a roof of abuse, misogyny, and tyranny. You are now a free woman, and embrace that freedom to go forth into this beautiful world and embrace all your strengths and talents that you never even knew you had. So go out, test yourself, try new things, push yourself to your limits, and you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. In the time of the Sahaba, radiyallahu ajma'in, women got divorced. It was no biggie. People got divorced all the time. People got widowed. People had given their husbands divorce, and so on and so forth. It was not a life and death sentence that we make it today, and it definitely wasn't as tabooed and as stigmatized as it is today. Back then, A woman was not looked upon as damaged goods. Okay, she was not a virgin, given that fact. Maybe she even had kids. But she was still treated with dignity and with love and respect. The divorcees, the widows, all of these people were married and taken in as second and third wives. And today, polygamy is frowned upon. And, as a married woman, yes, I understand the struggle with polygamy. But when I was divorced, it was terrible in that people would treat you so bad and honestly make you feel like Allah had removed you from His grace, and that marriage is such a ni'mah and such a grace and such a bounty, and Allah had removed you from it because you are that bad and there is something so wrong with you, and you are so defective, and there is something so truly innately bad in you that no one could live with you, and that you are unlivable with, and you were so ruined and rubbish that no one wants you. That is not true. Plenty of divorcees all around the world find new love every day, and inshallah you will too. Don't ever lose hope. Don't ever feel like it's a death sentence and that you will live out the rest of your days alone with 20 cats. You don't have to do that. You will not do that. You will definitely have an opportunity to find new love, and I totally suggest that before you find any new love and get married again, that you truly love and accept yourself and absolutely can separate what those nasty people are saying to you versus what your true value really is, and work on yourself to be the best version of yourself so that you can have a wonderful future with someone, and that you will be able to give your precious love and your precious heart to a guy that truly deserves it. Know that you can definitely have the best life without your husband. You don't need him to have the best life, especially if he was abusive to you in any way, shape, or form. And don't forget, there is always the possibility out there and tons of dua that can reap miracles on your life if you only believe in Allah and that He can bring you true love. The true love that will embrace you for all of your talents and absolutely not give a flick of a fudge that you've been divorced. And they love you all the more for your experience and your wisdom. I love you guys. Take care.